festivals are something very common everywhere. Every culture, every society, every country have their own festivals, and these festivals are needed because people need some relief from their everyday lethargic activities. They work, and sometimes they need some kind of some break from those everyday activities, and that is why there are festivals. Festivals are often linked to religion or to other social events, and in every society, everywhere in the country, there are festivals, and there are some rituals, some traditional things people do during the festivals. In the video that we are starting today, we will know about a very prominent festival of Assam, that is Bihu. We all know that Bihu is a remarkable event in Assam, and Bihu is of three types that occur in three different seasons. We have Magh Bihu, XII Bihu, and Magh Bihu. And our lesson today is Magh Bihu or Maghor Domahi, written by Dr. Goswami. And before we go to study the lesson, let us first of all see a background to the writing. Dr. Goswami has written this Magh Bihu or Maghor Domahi. The present essay is an extract from the book Festivals of Assam by Prafulla Dutta Goswami. So this essay, Magh Bihu or Maghor Domahi, is taken from the book Festivals of Assam. Festivals of Assam is the original book written by this author, and from that book we have this small piece. So it gives us a brilliant and an authoritative account of the Assamese festival of feasting known as Magh Bihu. From this essay we will know how Bihu is celebrated, particularly Magh Bihu. It gives us a brilliant and authoritative account. What is this authoritative? Authoritative means reliable account. Whatever information you will get from this essay, these information are reliable, they are genuine, they are true, because the man who has written them, he is an expert in the field, he is a knowledgeable man in the field. So it gives us a brilliant and an authoritative account of the Assamese festival of feasting. Festival of feasting, this word feast. Feast is when people of a locality, they come together and they together take food, they prepare food, and as a whole community they enjoy food together. That is called feasting, bhuj. So this Bihu is a festival of feasting that is celebrated in Assam, and that is called Magh Bihu. The essay also tells us in passing about the two other forms of Bihu, namely the Magh Bihu and the XII Bihu. So although this lesson in this lesson the author will focus mainly on Magh Bihu. Magh Bihu is one of the three Bihus celebrated in Assam. But in focusing on the Magh Bihu, he will tell us something about Magh Bihu and something about XII Bihu also. Now the question is, how is Magh Bihu celebrated? So this lesson is named Magh Bihu or Maghor Domahi. This Domahi, the word Domahi is also something that we need to be very clear about at the beginning. Magh Bihu is a very common phrase. It is one of the three Bihus. And that is Domahi. What is it? As we started, you will find about Domahi. The word Domahi, it means, it has come from the two words Domahi, do, two. And Mahi, it means months. This means that this festival takes place where it starts at the end of one month and continues till the beginning of the next month. The Assamese month of Puh and Magh. Puh Sankranti. In Bengali calendar they call it Posh Sankranti. The last day of the month of Puh or Posh. On the last day the festival begins, and on the very early initial days of Magh it continues. So it links 2 months. It touches 2 months. So it is Maghor Domahi. It means the festival that connects 2 months. It takes place during 2 months, the last day of 1 month and the initial day of the other month. Now let us start the essay. If Magh Bihu festivities are characteristic of Upper Assam, without denying their relevance in Lower Assam, Magh Bihu, the post-harvest winter festival, seems to have a stronger hold on people of Lower Assam, not excluding the tribals. And the term Bihu is not that popular as the term Domahi or Damhi, meaning the junction of 2 months. So it is Maghor Domahi in Lower Assam, and it is a festival of feasting. If Magh Bihu is described as Rangali Bihu or the cheering Bihu, Magh Bihu is known as Bugali Bihu or the Bihu of enjoyment. So the author says that if Magh Bihu, although the lesson is about Magh Bihu, but as an introduction he is telling us something about Magh Bihu, and from here you will know the difference between the two. If Magh Bihu festivities are characteristic of Upper Assam, festivities means the things that people do out of happiness during a festival. These activities are called festivities. If Magh Bihu festivities are characteristic of Upper Assam, in Upper Assam, Magh Bihu is more popular, and the author said that this does not mean that in Lower Assam it has no relevance. Without denying their relevance in Lower Assam, in Lower Assam also Magh Bihu is very much celebrated, but the name of Upper Assam districts come first as we talk about Magh Bihu. And now the author says about Magh Bihu. So far as Magh Bihu is concerned, the first thing that will come to your mind is the districts of Upper Assam. So far as Magh Bihu is concerned, this is the post-harvest winter festival. Post-harvest winter festival. Here the definition of Magh Bihu. It is the post-harvest winter festival. Post-harvest winter festival. These 4 words define what Magh Bihu is. The word post and there they have a hyphen. This post is not, this is called a prefix. You know, there are affixes. Affixes are of 2 types, prefix and suffix. When it comes, this word is not, this post is not a word actually. It comes before a noun and then there is a hyphen, as its antonym is pre-independence, post-independence. Pre-independence means time before independence, post-independence means time after independence. Here post-harvest means after harvest. What is harvest? When you cultivate things in the, cultivate crops in the field, and then your crop becomes mature, and then the farmers go to the field and they cut those products and they bring them home. This activity is called harvesting. So this Magh Bihu is a post-harvest winter festival. During the winter season, when farmers harvest their products from the field, harvesting is done, all the crops are now taken home, and that is the end of this long labor, and then they are happy that they have achieved, they have cultivated their land and they have got the products, so they are happy. During that season, when the harvesting is done, after harvesting, this Magh Bihu is celebrated. Magh Bihu, the post-harvest winter festival, seems to have a stronger hold on people of Lower Assam, not excluding the tribals. So in the earlier part of the sentence we found that so far as Magh Bihu is concerned, it is mostly done in Upper Assam, although Lower Assam also does celebrate it. And so far as Magh Bihu is concerned, it seems to have a stronger hold on the people of Lower Assam, not excluding the tribals. Even tribals also take part in this, they also celebrate this Magh Bihu. So more importance is given to Magh Bihu in Upper Assam, more importance is given to Magh Bihu in Lower Assam, and in Lower Assam even tribals also participate, they also celebrate it. And Magh Bihu, though it has more relevance in Upper Assam, it is not without any relevance in Lower Assam also. And the term Bihu is not that popular as the term Domahi. So far as Lower Assam is concerned, they use the word Domahi. That word is more popular than Bihu. In Lower Assam districts, Domahi is more popular than the word Bihu. What is this Domahi? And the term Bihu is not that popular as the term Domahi, or Damhi also they call it, meaning the junction of 2 months. This is maybe a question. What is the meaning of Domahi? Domahi means junction of 2 months, the meeting of 2 months. One month ends and another month begins, and during those days the festival is celebrated. That is called Domahi. So it is Maghor Domahi in Lower Assam, and it is the festival of feasting. If Magh Bihu is described, after Magh Bihu there is a comma. This comma is wrongly put here. There should not be any comma. If Magh Bihu is described as Rangali Bihu, Magh Bihu has other names. It is also called Rangali Bihu, because during that time there is newness, there is freshness in plants around you, there is on trees you see new leaves coming, there is beauty in nature. So Magh Bihu is described as Rangali Bihu, there is color, it is festival of color. Or the cheering Bihu, there is happiness, there is cheerfulness. And so far as Magh Bihu is concerned, it is known as Bugali Bihu, Bhog, eating, feasting. So Magh Bihu also called Rangali Bihu, there is color, there is newness. The word Rang has been used here, or cheering Bihu. And Magh Bihu is also called as Bugali Bihu, or the Bihu of enjoyment. Here it is more about eating and enjoying. Let us see this paragraph again and you try to get the meaning. If Magh Bihu festivities are characteristic of Upper Assam, without denying their relevance in Lower Assam, Magh Bihu, the post-harvest winter festival, seems to have a stronger hold on the people of Lower Assam, not excluding the tribals. And the term Bihu is not that popular as the term Domahi or Damhi, meaning the junction of 2 months. So it is Maghor Domahi in Lower Assam, and it is the festival of feasting. If Magh Bihu is described as Rangali Bihu or the cheering Bihu, Magh Bihu is known as Bugali Bihu or the Bihu of enjoyment. So in the very first paragraph we have been told something about Magh Bihu, and the whole essay the remaining portion of the whole essay will tell us about Magh Bihu only, and towards the end you will get some information about Kartik Bihu also. So let us start then in the second paragraph, where you will find a detailed account of Magh Bihu. A fire ceremony is closely associated with Magh Bihu, but more significant is Uruka, the Bihu Eve. On this day, women folk get ready for the next day with chira, pitha, ladu, curd, etc. Uruka is not exactly a one-day affair, for fuel has to be gathered, fish has to be got from ponds, streams, and if possible some meat too. In tribal settings, women prepare rice beer, usually undistilled. In winter, it takes 4 or 5 days to get the beer matured. A fire ceremony is closely associated with Magh Bihu. Yes, the author is telling us about Magh Bihu. That is the name of the lesson itself, Magh Bihu or Maghor Domahi. How does it start? A fire ceremony is closely associated. A ceremonial activity done using fire. That is an essential part of Magh Bihu. A fire ceremony is closely associated with Magh Bihu, but more significant is Uruka. More significant than the fire ceremony is something called Uruka. What is this Uruka? It is the Bihu Eve. The Bihu Eve. What is this Eve? The Bihu Eve. This Eve, if we use E as capital, Eve is a proper noun. This Eve is the woman who was the mother of the whole human race, Adam and Eve. And this Eve is also used with a small e. Here Eve means the time just before an event. For example, on the eve of Independence Day, on the eve of puja, it means just before those activities. So Bihu, it means immediately before the Bihu days. Uruka is something that is performed, that is celebrated just before Bihu. So Uruka is more significant than the fire ceremony associated with Bihu, and Uruka is done on the eve of Bihu. On this day, what is done during Uruka? On this day, women folk means the women, the ladies, they get ready for the next day. How do they get ready for the next day? Because the next day is the day of Bihu. So one day before the day of Bihu, that is Uruka, and on that day, what do? The women, they get ready for the next day with chira, pitha, ladu, curd, etc. These are the items, the delicious food items prepared during Bihu, and that is offered to the visitors, guests who come and meet. So women folk, they get ready with these food items. They start preparing from the one day before the Bihu, and that is the day of Uruka. Uruka is not exactly a one-day affair. Yes, Uruka is not a single day affair. Why? Because a lot has to be done. Before Bihu, you have to make a lot of preparation, and those preparation is not possible only on a single day. You need a number of days. That is why the author said Uruka is not exactly a one-day affair. Why? This word this for means because fuel has to be gathered. Nowadays you have your LPG cylinder and you have it, and there is no need to gather fuel. But the author is giving a description of the traditional way in which Bihu has all these years been celebrated, because it is linked to agriculture, it is linked to the farmers' activities in the field. So it is mainly a rural, associated with rural life. That is why earlier, what was the fuel? Fuel was those wood that you have to collect from forest or from other sources. No cylinder, no LPG cylinder was there available at that time. So fuel has to be gathered for the feasting, for the cooking. So it takes time. What else to be done? Fish has to be got from ponds and streams. From ponds or streams you have to collect fish also. You have to catch fishes for the feasting. And if possible, some meat too. Fish to be gathered, meat has to be got. And for cooking purpose you need to gather fuel. So Uruka festival Uruka activity is not a single day affair. It takes time, it takes some days. In tribal setting, women prepare rice beer. Among the tribal people, during this Uruka, they prepare rice beer. They prepare beer from rice, which is usually undistilled. Undistilled means it is not refined. It is in raw state. It remains in raw state. In winter, it takes 4 to 5 days to get the beer matured. If you want to make your beer matured, that the tribal people make the beer from rice. So it takes 4 to 5 days to make the beer mature, to make it fit for drinking, to make it quite ready for drinking. So then it takes days. That's why the author says that although Uruka takes place on the eve of Bihu, but it is not a single day affair. A lot of things are to be done by male folk and women folk. So some days are needed, and these days are called Uruka days. Another important chore is to build temple-like structures in fields. Usually young lads take a hand in this. These structures made with green bamboo, dried banana leaves and hay are usually temple-shaped and called Meiji, and those which are heart-like are called Bellagar. Sometimes cowherds pass the night in a Bellagar, warming themselves by a fire and making use of the vegetable that they steal from the villagers' gardens and the eatables that are given them. So this is another part of the story, another part of this Bihu, Magh Bihu. Another important chore, chore, chore means activity. Activity. Another important chore is to build temple-like structures in fields. So prior to Bihu, on the eve of Bihu, when people get ready for celebrating Bihu, what is done is that some temple-like structures are made. A structure is made which looks like a temple, and it is made in the field. And who take the lead in making such structures? Usually young lads. LAD, lad means young boys. Young boys, they take a leading role. They take a hand. It means they come forward. They take the lead in making such temple-like structures in the field. And these temple-like structures are made with green bamboo. There may be questions: how are these temple-like structures made, and what is the name given to them? Firstly, they are made with green bamboo, dried banana leaves, and hay. So hay is used. Banana leaves which have become dry are also used. Green bamboo is used, and using all these things, a structure is made that looks like a temple, and it is called Meiji. This is also a part of preparation of Bihu, and that is done during Uruka. So that is called Meiji. And those which are heart-like, some structures are shaped like a temple. That is called Meiji. And some structures are made that looks like a heart, that looks like a ordinary home of poor rural people. That heart-like structure is called Bellagar. Meiji or Bellagar, these are made on the eve of Bihu, because they will burn them and they will enjoy their time around, sitting around this Bellagar or Meiji. Sometimes cowherds pass the night in a Bellagar, warming themselves by a fire and making use of the vegetable that they steal from the villagers' gardens and the eatables that are given them. So what do cowherds do? Cowherd means cowboys, the boys who tame the cows in the field. What do? Sometimes they pass the night because they are in a very happy mood. Tomorrow is Bihu or the day after tomorrow is Bihu. So they are playing active role in preparing for Bihu. So Bellagars are made or Meijis are made and they pass the night in Bellagar. And what do? They make fire, they warm themselves because it is in winter season, so they need warmth. So they make a fire and they get warmth from the fire. And while spending the night in the Bellagar, warming themselves with fire, what else do? They make use of vegetable that they steal from the villagers' garden. That is also a tradition that young boys, they steal vegetables from the garden of the villagers, and those stolen food items, the vegetables, along with other eatables that people offer them, people willingly give to them, all these things they make use of, they cook them, they eat them, and in this way they spend the night before Bihu in Bellagars or Meijis. Uruka feasting may be a family affair or communal. So Uruka is described in detail here. Uruka feasting. Uruka is performed during on the eve of Bihu. So what is done during Uruka and how it is? Uruka feasting may be a family affair, maybe people of one single family, some 5 or 6 persons, they together enjoy, they together spend their night in the hut-like structure in Bellagar or Meiji. And maybe it is not a family affair, it is a communal. This word communal has become something in our society as the word communal, because there is communalism a lot all around. So the very word communal has become something that people are afraid of. People think that, yeah, you are using something bad. But the word communal here means something related to community. By this, the author means that Uruka festival is observed either by the members of a family together or more than the members of a single family, maybe members of some family, maybe members of some family who belong to the same community, the same area. A number of families from the same community, from the same area, they gather together and they together enjoy their night or day during this Uruka and during Bihu. That is what the author means when he says Uruka feasting may be a family affair or communal. After the feasting evening is over, next day at crack of dawn, D-A-W-N, dawn it is. This crack of dawn means very early in the morning, D-A-W-N. This is not down, this is D-A-W-N, means very early in the morning. At crack of dawn, what happens? After the feasting evening is over, when feasting is done, then the very next day, very early in the morning, someone in the family ties thin strips of bamboo, jute or hay around fruit-bearing trees, calls out to dogs and offer them rice, while women folk clean the house and cooking pans. So, after the feasting evening is over, and very early in the morning, the next day, someone in the family, what will he do? He will bind thin strips of bamboo. You might have seen how people make fans or other boundaries they make with the help of bamboo. And these strips of bamboo means very thin layers of bamboo. Bamboo is cut in such a way that some thin layers are taken out. These 3 thin layers are called strips. So someone in the family very early in the morning, they will tie the fruit-bearing trees, the trees that bear fruit. Those trees will be tied with the thin strip of bamboo or jute or hay. And after doing this, they will call out to dogs. They will invite dogs, and offer them rice. What about the women folk? They will clean the house and cooking pans. They will clean the house and they will clean the utensils, because this is the preparation for Bihu. So prior to Bihu, on the eve of Bihu, after the Uruka festivity, Uruka feasting in the evening is done, next day the men folk will They will tie the fruit-bearing trees with thin strips of bamboo or hay or jute. Women folk will start cleaning the house and cleaning the utensils as a preparation for the next day. And menfolk will also offer food to dogs. This is service to animals. They are helping the other animals too, and they are feeding them. Then all take a purifying bath and put on washed clothes. So in the morning, what will they do? They will take a purifying bath. They will take a bath as a mark of with the hope that they will get purified with this bath. This is a holy bath, you can say. And put on washed clothes. Nowadays, washed clothes is not enough. People demand new clothes. The author is talking about the tradition, how Bihu was celebrated. That maybe at that time people could not afford to buy new clothes. All could not do it. So even old clothes, they are washed. They are made clean. They would wear those clothes after taking a bath. The male folk and children then move on to the Meijis and Bellagars. Yes, Meijis and Bellagars were already, they were ready. Now, after the Uruka feasting evening, and in the very next morning, they get up, they first of all offer food to the dogs, and then they take a bath, and then they wear new clothes or old washed clothes. And then the male folk and children, then they go to the Meijis or Bellagars, where offerings of eatables are made to the god of fire, Agni. And going to the Meiji or Bellagar, whatever they already had made, they will offer food items, eatables to the god. Which god? God of fire, Agni. Then to cries of God's names, fire is set to the structures. Then they will set fire to the structure, chanting the name of Agni, the fire god. Red flames warm the people, so long shivering in cold. So people were all shivering in cold, but now that fire is set and then the Meiji Bellagar has started burning, there is fire and people get warmth and they enjoy it, they love it. Red flames warm the people, so long shivering in cold, and the tubes of bamboo burst like gunfire. And as burning has started, fire has started, so you will often hear the sound of bamboo bursting. The sound is like gunfire, patash, 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 all around you see bamboo tubes are burst. Brahmins or elderly persons give blessings. What is the role of Brahmins or elderly persons? They bless the other people. How do they bless? They offer blessings and put marks of ash on the forehead. They put mark of ash on the forehead of other people. Who do it? Brahmins or elderly persons. They do it to others. The half-burnt sticks are scattered in the fields and pieces may be brought home to be thrown near fruit-bearing trees. So when this is totally burnt, then the half-burnt sticks of the bamboo are scattered in the fields. Why is it scattered? Because it is a source of fertilization. It is scattered in the fields, and some pieces are taken home also, as the whole burning process was done, chanting the name of the fire of the god of fire Agni. So these pieces are considered holy, and they are taken home to be thrown near fruit-bearing trees. They will be thrown near fruit-bearing trees, whether in the field or near their home, with the hope that these pieces of burnt bamboo will help in the productivity of the crops or other plants. The belief is that the ashes and half-burnt bamboos increase the fertility of fields and gardens. This is what I have told. People believe that if these half-burnt pieces of bamboo are thrown, it is scattered, then it will add to creativity, productivity of the land and gardens. Europeans who lighted lantern, L-E-N-T-E-R, lantern is not the lantern that we know, that source of light, no. L-E-N-T-E-R, and lantern, it means this is also a kind of ritual, a kind of festival that Europeans did. Europeans who lighted lantern and midsummer fire also had the belief in the efficacy of ashes. Efficacy means usefulness. So the way in Assam during the Magh Bihu, these Meijis or Bellagars are burnt and the half-burnt parts of this bamboo or ashes are scattered. In the same way, Europeans did the same thing. During Lantern or during Midsummer, these are their festivals. What did they do? They also have the same faith, same idea that these half-burnt parts of bamboo, they are useful, they have efficacy, they have usefulness of ashes and embers. Ember means the small parts of the wood or bamboo that remains after burning. That is called embers as a means of fertility. The same belief Europeans also had. Some of them also had the custom of tying bands of straw around the tree trunks to render them fruitful. Yes, in the same way as we have got it that here also in Assam, menfolk, they tie the fruit-bearing trees with bamboo strips or hay or jute. In the same way, the British, the Europeans, they also had the custom of tying bands of straw around tree trunks. Why did they do it? They did it to render the trees fruitful, to enable the trees. They believed that if we do it, then the trees will have more productivity. And within bracket you get the word Fraser. What is it? This means that the author has collected this information from someone who is Fraser. Someone named Fraser has mentioned this thing in his book or in his writing, and from there only our author has collected this information. These fire rituals have apparently an Indo-European origin. So fire festival, burning Meijis or Bellagars, and then scattering those embers and half-burnt bamboos, etc. The way Assamese people do it, in the same way British, they also do it, and the author said that this implies that it has an Indo-European origin, that the origin of this kind of practice was there in India as well as in Europe. Its origin is linked to both the countries. Both the countries have the origin of this practice. So this is the introduction of how Magh Bihu is celebrated. That on the eve of Magh Bihu, something called Uruka is observed, and then during Uruka, young people take a part and they make Bellagar or Meiji, and women folk also, they prepare for Bihu. They prepare food items, and then on the very first day, early in the morning, take bath, and then they go and they burn the Bellagar or Meiji, and then they continue their rituals. In the same way, we will continue seeing how the author tells us, he gives us some more details of Magh Bihu, and this part we will see in the next video. And in the last part, you will get some information about Kati Bihu also, but as the name indicates, the author will focus on Magh Bihu. So we will come with a new video in which discussions will continue on Magh Bihu as narrated by our author, Dr. Prafulla Dutta Goswami, in his lesson Magh Bihu or Maghor Domahi. Thank you very much for being with me.